Hi, welcome to part 3 of DP 900. If you have not subscribed, do so. It will help you with certifications, primarily on uh, Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud. Let us look at this question. A block of code that runs a database is called what? Runs in a database. So it should be a stored procedure. The stored procedure is a block of code. We it, it is put in a like we have a create or stored procedure and we have set of syntax. So it is like uh, you applications can call stored procedures, and it like if you create stored procedure, what benefit you get? You can reuse the same code. For example, you can create a code and some team members can use it, and it has enhanced security because your logic is encapsulated inside that code. Now you might say, hey, ain't table a piece of code? It is not. It is a structured collection of data in rows and columns. And a view is not even a physical entity. It is a logical object. And consider a view as, you create a query and you are able to save that query. Consider that as a saved query. An index is a data structure. We all know any database, Oracle, SQL Server, DB2, the purpose of using an index is always about boosting the speed and the performance of what? Uh, of your Ferrari car? No, of the database queries. So in this case, stored proc is our final answer. So this is the next question where we got to map. You have the questions and we got to map the answers. First, let us understand what each key elements mean. For example, cognitive. It is, when a baby is born and the baby is growing up, it develops cognitive abilities. That means to think something and act, think something and pick a ball or pick a toy. So AI can do certain reasoning like humans. We call it cognitive skills. For example, you give an image to an AI and it would tell you what this image contains. Now, descriptive, if you see this descriptive, this is about describing. That means describing your past data. So consider a question like what were the total sales of each product in the last quarter? So that you're trying to describe, hey, the total sales was this many dollars. It was good, but not great and not bad, but we need to step up. Our diagnostic is about, you know, the same thing I explained. Like once you caught the total sales, is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? Is it awesome? So it is good but not great. So it asks the question, why did the sales increase last month, for example? Or in our case, why is it good and not great? So it is trying to diagnose something. You go, you fell down on the road and you go to the doctor. The doctor says, hey, let me pull an X-ray of your hand. So what is he trying to do is he's trying to diagnose if there is a fracture, a bone fracture, or a hairline fracture or nerve fracture. So it's trying to understand, it's trying to diagnose. So similarly, you have the sales figures, you're trying to diagnose what factors contributed to help boost the sales last month. Predictive is like you act as an astrologer. You're trying to say, you're trying to predict actually what will happen in the future. So this is the question. What will be the sales for each product in the next quarter? So you're trying to play God and you're trying to say that, okay, this is what would happen. A lot of people, they try to play a role of astrologer in the stock market. They say, hey, you buy these set of stocks and these will give you uh, 20% CAGR and these will be awesome for in your case. So that is something called predictive. And prescriptive is about, for example, you ask this question, provide specific guidance on how to allocate a budget to different inventory items. So it's an advice. So it is going beyond prediction. It is about recommendations. It's like a doctor saying that, hey, we did the tests, we took the x-rays, and we did the diagnostics, and we are predicting that if you don't take the medications now, so it might be really bad in the next 3 months. So they give you a prescription. Okay, you can have these two set of medicines 3 times a day and eat a lot of veggies and whatever the diet restrictions are. So that is a prescription. The doctor gives you a prescriptions once the diagnostic process has been conducted. So when you say, why did the sales increase last month? What you're necessarily doing is running a diagnostic check here. You're kind of taking an X-ray, doing some scans to understand uh, the pain point, like why did the sales increase? Now, when you say provide specific guidance on how to allocate a budget, this is prescriptive in nature because you as a doctor did the diagnostics and now you're saying, hey, you need to follow these set of instructions. And when you say we detect images of a company's logo in a PDF document, this is a cognitive skill that we are talking about. So these are our answers. Okay, so now we are in the next question, and here we are talking about non-relational databases. So these can be a document database or a database which is a NoSQL database like a MongoDB and so on. The first one says in a non-relational database, data is always stored in tables. So the non-relational databases, we all know that it is not a SQL database. So you can you are not restricted that everything should be a table there. So the answer is in this case is no because uh, you can have uh, key value stores format, wide column stores format, graph database format, document formats, and so on, like JSON. So the answer of the first one is no, because you can have so many different ways of storing data. So table is not the only form. The second one says, hey guys, if I have a non-relational database, data is always stored using a fixed schema. What it means is I have a table with 10 columns. So if I fire insert statements, I would try to dump the data. I need to give values for all 10 columns. And that's a fixed kind of thing. If I have, like, assume that all 10 columns are not null columns, and if I have an insert statement where I just have data for 6 columns, it won't go through. It would error out because it's a fixed schema. In this case, it is non-relational. Why did we invent non-relational? So that we are not bound by fixed schemas. That was the intention of inventing non-relational databases. So it's like SQL databases. We have schema flexibility, and the schemas are pretty dynamic. In some cases, we have schema-less approach. So the answer in this case is still no. Okay, so you got to understand the reason how we are arriving at the answers. The third one says, non-relational databases, two entities in the same collection can have different set of fields. Oh yes, and that is the concept of dynamic schemas, because dynamic schemas do allow this scenario to happen. So we have schema flexibility due to which two docs with the same name collection, with the same collection, can have different fields or data structures. So answers, these are our answers. So if you're really up to get certified on AWS, Azure, GCP Cloud, do subscribe. And there are 1,000+ videos on this channel, 1,000+. A lot of them free. There are quite a few of them which are for paid members like Cloud Kernel. To become a member, join at a very small premium, and you gain access to so many important questions. This brings us to the end of part three. This certification is good for people who are looking to build a career in the data analytics space, and especially on the Azure cloud platform. So you can go for this certification.